everybody. We're shucking some corn. It's about 7 o'clock at night. We got the radio playing in the garage, or the music.
I'm gonna hand these to you.
Okay, I'm gonna let you.
And let you,
Give me just a second.
yeah, and let you silk them just a little bit.
Okay.
Could have brought that lodge brush out here, but who knows? See, there's a mosquito around you now. I'm glad you brought that Thermacell.
Maybe it'll make a difference.
They are all out here this evening.
Hey, where's the other bucket? You put anything in that other bucket?
No.
I might put the finished ones in that bucket.
Okay.
Thank you. That means you gotta reach all the way over here to throw that.
I can hand them to you.
Okay. I was trying to get that ugly part off.
Here, I'll-
I don't think it's come off. So I'm gonna stick it over here in the bucket.
Our good friends, the fantastic Jim and Linda, went to a farm right up above their house and got this corn, and they got some for themselves too. And so they brought it to us, or they brought it to their house, and we went up there and got it, and spent some time with them today.
He took me in his greenhouse, or partially green, I don't know what you call it, but he's growing tomatoes. They've already canned 12 quarts of tomatoes, and he had a Blue Million on the vine, perfectly ripe, ready to eat. So I asked him, I said, can you give me one of those so we can have a tomato sandwich? I'm still not so sure our tomatoes are gonna ever ripen. So he did, and we had a sandwich when we got home, and it was fabulous.
Now, those of you who aren't from the South may not appreciate a tomato sandwich. We grew up on them.
Oh, man.
And you take white bread and slather it with mayonnaise.
Yes.
Put a couple of slices of tomato on it, salt it and pepper it.
Yep, a lot. Pepper a lot.
And there you have a tomato sandwich. And you really know that it's a good tomato sandwich if the tomato juice drips all the way to your elbows.
They call it one of the kitchen sink sandwiches. The meaning is it's so messy you should probably eat it over the kitchen sink. But that's how you know the tomatoes ripe and juicy and wonderful. Well, these were just like that.
And the other way you know that it's ripe and juicy and wonderful is they taste good.
Yeah, buddy. We heard about a new sandwich today. Our friend Linda asked if we'd ever heard of an onion sandwich. She said they had them when they were growing up. And we're gonna try it, and we'll film it if we do. But she said that you take white bread and you put butter on one side, and you thinly slice the onion circles and put it on there. And on top of the onion, you drizzle A1, and then
Steak sauce, yeah.
steak sauce, and then put the top piece on. And she says it's wonderful. So we have some onion, we have some bread, and we got some A1, so that might be coming up pretty soon. We'd never heard of that.
Now, when I was growing up, we had big, big Sunday dinners. And we had roast beef. Sometimes at the same time we had chicken and homemade biscuits. And
All the fixings,
all
right?
the fixings with it. So about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when everybody was finished eating, we'd go get a homemade biscuit and an onion, thin sliced onion, put it on the biscuit and salt it, and we had an onion biscuit. That was absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Like they say, don't knock it until you try it. And it was just great. I'll tell you a little story about biscuits. As I was growing up,
Oh, you probably want me to get that from
well,
her, so.
as I was growing up, we always had home cooked meals. Supper was home cooked. A lot of times we'd have a sandwich or something for dinner. But by and large,
Okay,
all of
can I
our
translate?
yeah,
So I've learned that what I called lunch, well, we had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tim calls lunch dinner, and the nighttime meal I call dinner, but he calls supper.
yeah, we were raised that it's breakfast, dinner, and supper. And years ago, before lunch boxes were made, I'm just going by what my grandparents had told me, that when the loggers would go into the woods, they would carry a bucket with a lid on it, and it was called a dinner pail.
Oh,
So that's what they ate.
is that?
You know, that was a
That was
midday
dinner.
meal.
Okay.
So anyway, back to my story about the biscuits. We had home cooked meals. So I was probably, I'm guessing 14 or maybe 15 before I ever had a biscuit, a canned biscuit. I was 14 or 15 before I ever had a biscuit that wasn't homemade. And I thought that was just the neatest thing.
Whack it on
And,
the counter.
So once in a while, we would get canned biscuits at the store. And you know, a 14-year-old kid, the thing that I enjoyed most about that is when I unwrapped it, I got to flail that thing against the counter and it popped open. Was very blessed growing up to have home cooked meals. And so when TV dinners came out, I thought that was the neatest thing. So about one Saturday evening a month, about the time before Lawrence Welk came on, we would have Swanson TV dinners.
Now, wait, what was it called?
Swanson TV dinner. But
Dinner.
we had them for supper.
Dinner.
We had them for supper.
Dinner.
So anyway, we thought that was a treat. I mean, nowadays you're like, oh gosh, a TV dinner. We want home cooked. Well, now that's the way it is. Back then, it was like, hey, let's have TV dinners. So
The best part was the little apple, cherry cobbler that was in some of them.
yeah, the ones we had most often were turkey dinners, and they had gravy and mashed potatoes and a little bit of cranberry sauce.
Did they have the nasty green peas?
No,
Corn?
I don't recall that, but
Those were gross.
we had the turkey dinners, and it also came with the mashed potatoes. It may have had green peas. I'm not
Those were
sure.
awful.
But anyway,
Oh, and you had to do them in the oven.
yeah.
So you put them in the oven. They had tinfoil on the top, and you would peel back the tinfoil from the meat or from something. Seems like you peeled it back from something. And so it still took like an hour.
Oh yeah.
The oven.
Yeah.
It wasn't a quick thing like a microwave dinner now.
Yeah, it took about an hour, but the thing is, you just didn't have to put all that together. It was already in one container, and we ate
TV
that.
trays. You had to have TV
yeah,
trays.
we had the TV trays.
It was a big deal.
Oh yeah, and we thought we were something. And then, back then there was a local grocery store that handed out little race cards, horse race cards. And so on Saturday evening, you had let's go to the races. And if your
We
horse,
might have talked about this once before, but
yeah,
tell me the scoop. I don't remember anymore.
well, if you had your little race cards, and every time you went to the grocery store, they handed them out like coupons. And then on Saturday night, if you watched Let's Go to the Races, they had probably 5 or 6 different races.
So they actually had horse racing.
It was
on
horse
TV.
races, yeah.
Not
And-
just the Kentucky Derby. That's all that's
No,
on
it was horse
now,
racing
yeah.
on TV. And if your horse won, you could win up to like $100 or something, or free groceries or whatever. But anyway, that came on for 30 minutes.
Oh, the race?
It came on television, yeah.
I didn't know if they popped in like a commercial. Or,
Oh,
so
it was,
you actually
it
watched
was a 30-minute show, yeah.
the races.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then Lawrence Welk came on, and we always watched him. And that's the first place that I ever saw Lynn Anderson.
And who's that?
She's the lady that sang, I beg your pardon, I never promised you a rose garden. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, then after that, Adam 12 came on. And, we watched Adam 12 with Pete Malloy and Jim Reed.
I like Adam 12. They play it on MeTV. We don't watch it because it comes on at some weird time, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something. I wish it came on much later.
Yeah.
Oh, we had some excitement this week. Speaking of TV, we went to cut our TV on and it sounded like a gunshot.
Sounded like a subsonic 22 rifle got shot.
And it went black. So,
That's the 22 rifle shot sound was the last sound that television made. There you go, sweets.
off to the store we had to go.
Yeah.
And we thought, I kind of thought about, well, let's just, maybe we can do without that thing. But it takes up half your living room. And then to sit there and look at a dark TV just is almost sadder. So anyway, we went and got one. We really only stream stuff on the TV.
Yeah, we don't have any kind of antenna. Well, we got one, but it won't pick up anything
Not
here.
here.
And we don't have cable. We called the cable company and they said they didn't really service this area, but they'd be glad to rent it out here for us for $10,000. And I guess they're still waiting on us to call them to tell them to come out here.
Come on out.
So, but we watch, the main thing we watch is YouTube videos of people who travel, people who do some prepping,
Yeah.
so we can get some ideas. We also watch, on Saturday night we have a kind of a ritual.
I love it.
We'll fix a nice supper, and then at 6 o'clock, the Three Stooges come on MTV, MeTV, not MTV, God.
Me TV.
And then after that, Sven Gulli comes on, and he's been hosting a TV show since back in the 70s. You may want to cut that off.
Oh, yeah, okay. Ugh, is it a bug?
I'll see if I can break it.
Okay, here's my knife.
There you go.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
anyway, he comes on and he hosts horror shows from anywhere from the 30s to probably the 70s.
And they're not scary, they're those old B-rated, mostly weird TV shows.
And like this past week, it was Frankenstein with Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
And
it was great.
Oh yeah, we watched that. And then after Svengoolie goes off, we watched Batman with Bruce Ward and
yeah. And they only show you 30 minutes of an episode.
Yeah, Adam West and Bruce Ward, I'm sorry.
You got to tune in the next week to get the end of the show to see if they got the Joker or whatever.
And then after that, Star Trek comes on. Now, as a kid growing up, I never cared for that show. But now, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I used to watch, so Tim and I grew up about 11 years different, I guess.
Yeah, about 12 years apart.
And so I watched Star Trek Next Generation. And I liked that show a lot. But it's way different, of course, than the original. Mm-hmm. So it's fun watching the original. It's kind of cute.
And then if we're really feeling like we don't want to go to bed at that time, one of my favorite shows of all time comes on after that, and it's The Night Stalker. And that's a spin-off of the show, the movie The Night Strangler. And it stars Darren McGavin as Carl Kolchak, the goofy reporter, and Simon Oakland is his boss at the news agency.
He's kind of barky, always yelling, "Do better! Go get the story!"
Darren McGavin was one of my all-time favorite actors.
He's good.
He played in a movie which is totally diverse from this. Back in the 60s, I believe it was, or early 70s, and it was called The Recruit. And Jan Michael Vincent was the recruit that was drafted into the Marines.
Did he recently die?
He died about 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And Darren McGavin was the drill instructor who was bound and determined to break this hippie.
Back in the days of
Back
the
in the
hippies.
days and the hippies. She doesn't remember hippies. So anyway, he gives him quite a few almost imaginable tasks to do.
Unimaginable.
Yeah, almost unimaginable task, you're right. But it's still supper.
Oh, I know.
So, and he goes through them with no problems at all. You know, he gives him 2 buckets full of sand to hold, you know, just outside by, you know, to his side on both sides. And he thinks, you know, nobody can hold that out long. And Jan Michael Vincent goes to his happy place, and he holds him out there for, I don't know how long it is. And it just absolutely irritates Darren McGavin, the drill instructor, to no end.
Because he could mentally...
He could mentally go somewhere and hold those buckets all day long. Yeah. And so Darren McGavin didn't know what to do with him.
So Saturday is really the limit of our actual TV watching, and all of those shows, unfortunately, have commercials, which we have to mute and carry on.
And all the commercials.
Dog commercials.
Oh gosh, and all
tears
the
my heart out.
Well, that and medicine commercials.
Oh yeah.
It's medicine commercials all the time, and they're like, you know, check and see if this medication is right for you, and they don't tell you what it's for. So
let me fix this a little bit.
There you go. Hand me that, would you please?
Yeah, let's just see if that's all. I think I got one more.
What's that knife in there?
Okay.
So anyway, talking about the medication, they'll say, check with your doctor to see if this is right for you. Well, can you imagine going into your doctor's office?
No idea
And I never had this happen when I was in the medical field, but can you imagine some guy coming in and saying, well, you know, what about this, doc, or something, you know? And
the TV said.
Yeah, the TV said this might be right for me, and it's something for menopause, and it's some, you know, 70-year-old man, and he doesn't know what it's for.
Just check and see if this is right for you.
Yeah, the TV said this might be right for me.
It's on TV, it's the truth.
Well, yeah, that and the internet.
How many ears was this supposed to be? 3 dozen?
No, I
It
don't.
didn't feel like 3 dozen. What did he say?
Well, when you get to talking and get to enjoying what you do,
That's nice.
it makes it go along
Yeah.
real smoothly and faster.
I guess it could be
And
3
see,
dozen.
this is, I mean, this is enjoyable for us, but you know, the neat thing is, this is our food.
Yeah.
This is our food, especially in the
Some of
wintertime.
this is tomorrow night's dinner or tonight. I don't know.
Well,
It's awful
supper
late.
too.
Oh,
But really, we froze corn last year, you may remember. And back in the winter, we would have steak or whatever, or meatloaf or something.
ooh, yeah.
And I would go downstairs and get a pack of corn, and man, oh man, it tastes just like it did when we prepared it for freezing.
I only got about 3 more, and then that what's in your hand.
3 more what?
Ears, Stu.
Are they in there? They're not. They haven't. I mean, everything's been shucked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing more in that. I just got these 3 to seal.
Okay.
I think the gloves are working okay.
They
it's
are.
dark out, so it's hard to see.
Yeah,
When we
and
get
the-
inside, it's probably going to look like
and
it's
the-
got fur.
And the silk tends to stick to the gloves, which is good.
Yeah.
We were going to get a silk brush today, and ran into some neighbors at the grocery store and started talking. And even though we had a list, once that happens, I just follow her around.
Yeah, and I don't even think that was on the list. I think we just talked about it. It didn't make it all the way to
We
the
hadn't
list.
seen those neighbors in a while. I mean,
Yeah.
we see the gentleman walking,
Yeah.
and his
They are so
daughter.
dedicated to
Oh,
that
they're so
walk.
dedicated to walking,
I
and
think
they
they
are,
walk 2-3 times a day.
and they have been 2 or 3 times a day, and they're great people. Great people.
Good neighbors. We say neighbors, but
All of our neighbors are good
Right.
neighbors. And when we're talking about
quarter
neighbors,
mile.
you know, 2 miles down this way is a fella that we know. These people live probably a mile down this way, a very nice lady and her husband. They're probably a quarter of a mile this way. That's the closest ones.
Hey, we can cut the end off of that.
Yeah.
Do that, but in a while. Getting silks. This has been some really good corn. This is about the only piece I've seen that's missing a few, and he's probably going to cut that end off so you wouldn't even know.
Right.
There's been some really healthy corn.
Oh, it's good sweet corn
Evidently,
like it
it
was
likes
last year.
lots of rain because we have had a ton of rain.
And just now, we're starting to get some of the, get warm, and the smoke. The Canadian fires is starting to come in this area because we live up on a hill, and as we were driving down, you could see the smoke in the valleys. And some friends of ours from North Carolina, they got the smoke back in the spring and summer. We didn't get it. But now, we're getting some of it.
All right. I think that is the last one. I'm gonna double check.
And you got these in here taken care of?
Oh, I forgot what I did with them. That was before we got the bucket.
Right. And if I need to cut any of those off, let me know.
Let's see.
That one looks like it
looks
cut
like
off.
I cut them. Yes, I can't remember what I did.
Mm-hmm.
We got some full buckets full of corn. Enormous. Can you grab them?
Yeah. We actually pulled the tractor out here just to sit on the bucket and do this.
Because that's what we did last year, and
Yeah.
it worked well. And it's about the right height for digging in the bucket and the box.
And she will tell you that I am absolutely probably one of the most, not the most, nostalgic and sentimental people.
Yeah, that's it.
And so what we did last
Both
year
halves.
and this year, we'll probably do next year.
Yeah, and it
'Cause-
works.
Yeah, it works.
I'll take those. All right, well, let's show you how it wound up.
Yeah, let's see it.
Goodness.
Oh
That's
man,
one.
that's
You
nice.
hold that one.
Mhm. Oh,
You got my glove.
I got you by the glove.
And then here is the other one.
Oh, that's some nice corn.
So we'll go in and boil that and
We'll be able to eat that for many suppers.
suppers. And look at all that stuff on the ground. What happened there?
Well, I
Who
mean,
was in charge of that side of the box?
me, but it's out here in the middle of the woods trail, so.
All right, well, we're done with this task.
Okay, are you gonna carry this in, or do you want me to put it in the tractor? And,
Oh, I would love for you to put it in the tractor.
well, we'll put it in the tractor.
I don't have to do as much.
And that way you can hop in, and I'll take you back up there.
Okay. Okay. Let's do it.
Let's do it, buddy.
See, if we put him in this thing here, then I can put him in the tractor too. And I can get in the tractor.
Yeah.
And life is good. Oops.
Ooh, there went one.
That one. They're going to get a bath.
They're gonna get a real bath. They're gonna get a hot bath. Here, there you go. I'll put one in here, and that way it'll even it out.
Wait, that'll work. Okay, great.
Oh,
Gosh, it's dark out.
yeah.
Or from thermostat.
While I'm thinking about it, right there, the thermocell.
Okay. You want to cut it off?
Yeah, I'll cut it off for
Worry
you.
about that.
Thermocell. That is a necessity here because of the mosquitoes.
They don't leave you alone. All right.
Well, I'm just gonna lay that right there.
Perfect. Hey everybody, we're in the kitchen. We're boiling the corn for 4 minutes, parboiling, and then we're gonna put them over there on the table on top of a towel. But right now, I've got to finish getting some of the silks off. And we did these last night in the semi-dark. So here's our corn. Aren't they beautiful? They are yellow and white. I don't know what that's called. I guess white and yellow corn, yellow white corn. I don't know. They cleaned up pretty nice. Just a few silks here and there. Tim and I were talking, we don't know how many bushels we got last year or ears, but I think it was a lot more, which we're happy for. We don't want to spend the whole day processing the corn, or whole night, whatever. Well, our timer just went off, so we're gonna get these out and put them on the towel. Hey Tim, can you bring me the towel? Okay.
Remembered you asking for it. You want it on the stainless steel table?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Ooh, shoot. Stainless steel bowls get pretty hot.
Well, yeah, I'd say it is.
Wow, that was rough.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Metal is a good conductor of heat.
Yow!
Here, I'm gonna get your mitts out.
Oh, thanks.
Pot holder.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna put the next batch in there. Put the lid on, and once they start boiling, we're gonna time those. So our plan is to parboil these and then we're going to cut the kernels off the little cobs. And then we're going to vacuum seal them into bags like we did last year. We still have some left over from last year, which is fine with us. We love this stuff. We usually save it for kind of special occasions because fresh corn is
delicious.
delicious. Can you see if that's boiling yet, baby?
Yeah.
If it is, I need to set a 6-minute timer.
Just starting.
Okay.
We're glad we were able to get this corn because the only other kind of corn we found was pirate corn.
What in the world is that?
It's a buccaneer.
It's true. It was $1 a ear. That was funny. Yeah, there's a little stand down here, a lady who has a beautiful setup, you know, with greenhouses and all that, but I guess that's fine for somebody who wants one little meal, but we wanted some to put away, and that's just too expensive. Buccaneer.
That joke was courtesy of our dear, dear friend Module.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's starting to now. I mean,
I had turned it down, it was blowing all over the place, and I never remembered to turn it back up, so now we're in a weird place.
I turned it up just a tad.
Okay. So this week has been kind of a busy week. One of the things we did was we painted the downstairs bathroom, and it is just lovely. I'll show you some pictures of that later, but wow. Tim picked out the paint color, and it is just stunning. Beautiful. So I'm gonna set these off and let them cool down, because we're not gonna be able to touch them.
If you will look in that pot and just see
See
if
what we think?
it's boiling enough to suit you.
That's cool. Right there. Let's do it.
Okay.
So the weird thing was, I found several different timer amounts. One was 4 minutes, one was 6 minutes. So I put it on 6, just in case it's not enough.
I don't blame you, because it's better to be, I mean, a 4 would be marginal.
Yeah. So. And you still cook it when you get it out of the bag, the freezer bag, so
Right.
I don't think it'll hurt it. What we learned was the reason that you parboil it is because it traps in the color, it traps in the nutrients, they're not lost during refrigeration, and the flavor. Evidently there's an enzyme in there that you have to kill when you, is it kill or activate my boiling it?
I'm not sure.
One of those.
I would be afraid to tell you.
But anyway, it needs to be boiled so that it remains its color and taste and all that, texture. That sounds like it's boiling.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've arrived. Tonight we're going to have some pork chops and some corn, this corn, and I don't know what, green beans or something.
We could have green beans, we could also have carrots.
Yeah. was doing something crazy. I was sitting over here, Tim, and I have the water ice cold and freezing my hands to pieces. And realized I don't have to do that. It's gonna get in boiling water. I can put it on lukewarm. So I did. Much better. I swear these things. You look at them, you think they're good, and then you turn away and look at them again. You're like, my God, how did I miss that? I don't know if I told this story the last time we did corn or not, but the first time I remember having real corn, not corn in the can, I went with my friend Terry to her grandparents' house, and her grandmother made this stuff, and it was in a bowl, and she fed us a meal, and I didn't know what that stuff was, and honestly, I don't know if she ground it up a little more. It seems like the texture wasn't quite corn. But anyway, so I said, gosh, this stuff's delicious. What is this? And she said, honey, that's corn. And I was like, oh, wow. And so it doesn't look anything like the Del Monte or whatever, whoever makes corn, Jolly Green Giant, I don't know, but it was delicious. And I knew then, well, that's something that everybody needs to try. Just one time, they'll be hooked. It's some work, though. I think we've succeeded with bowling. How much on the timer? 40 seconds. Back that down just a hair. Bowling to death. We're doing pretty good over here. 4 more. Seconds, and we'll call it. It's kind of a steamy job. I feel like I'm getting a facial over here. All right. I don't have a ton of water in this pot because the other day we were cooking something. I don't remember what we were steaming, but I had filled it up to the brim. And then when we put the items in, it might have been clams. I don't know. It just boiled over everywhere. So I've learned to do small batches. And that's going to be a few minutes before that starts boiling.
took a picture of the corn
Oh, thanks.
and sent it to people.
Oh, thanks.
And every one of them came back message failure.
Oh, no, what's going on? Is it just a photograph or a video?
It's photograph. It's boiling.
All right, we start the timer. All right, I'll do this little part. So break.
You want a drink?
Yeah, I would love to have water if you can hunt one down. Thank you. Hey everybody, we're back. We boiled all the corn and now we are cutting it off the cob, and then I'm gonna milk it. That's what they call it, where you take the back of the knife and run down there and get all the sweet corn juices, I'll say. And we learned something. Tim sent a picture to our friends and of our corn, and two of them wrote back and said, that is peaches and cream corn. Didn't know that was the name of a corn, but because it's pink and white or yellow white or whatever, it's called peaches and cream. So that was interesting. We did not know. We kind of thought corn was corn. So, and the folks in North Carolina told us that their corn for eating came in I think he said July. I'm not sure right now, but so obviously we are a couple months behind on the heat and everything. And so like you guys have probably all had your tomatoes come in, and we're just hoping ours are going to ripe before the snow. But so anyway, so we are a little bit behind of most schedules. You know, it used to be cool up here until this week, and now it is in like the high 80s and ridiculously hot. I think it's like a heat wave everywhere though, not just here. Of course, some folks are in the hundreds, so they probably give the right foot to be in the high 80s. So, Tim is having a 65th birthday. And so we are having a party for Tim on Saturday. We've invited some friends. And so he has gone to get from the butcher some Boston butts to barbecue in the smoker. So that's what he's gone off to do. And they were nice to us. They cut it down like some gigantic Boston butt. It's going to take forever to smoke or cook in any fashion. But we wanted 3-pound Boston butts, a bunch of them, several. And so they're going to do that for us. So they all cook evenly and cook hopefully in less time than like a whole day or whatever. So we had some visitors earlier in the season, and they said Tim's Boston butts were great. So we are going on their recommendation, and he's going to do it again, just like he did for them. And so hopefully everything on Saturday will be a huge success. Oh, I see some silks I missed. I'd rather see them now than when I'm eating them. Boy, we learned some lessons last year. We did all this kind of stuff for the first time last year. And we got green beans from the Amish. And we told them we wanted a bunch, you know, so we could can them. And that's what they gave us, but not knowing, we didn't know that they were a little old. And what happens when they're a little old is they get gross. Kind of stringy, even though they didn't have strings when we were cutting them up. Maybe that was a clue that it was old. I don't know. But those did not turn out to be the best. Now we got some from our friends, to Melinda, and those were great last year, the green beans, and the ones we grew ourselves, which was very few, but anyway, that was good. So we learned some lessons last year, and we probably aren't going to make those mistakes again. You just assume everybody's decent and honest, and they're not going to say something that's bad, but evidently that's not the case. I mean, they're edible. It's not that they're not, but they are not good. Like, I wouldn't say, oh my God, let me give you some of our green beans. No. One of the best things we made last year, we didn't do anything with the apples this year. Tim's back is not up for picking apples for sure. But last year we made, let me think what it was called. Cinnamon and ginger apple butter. Oh my goodness, that was fabulous. The best. Still got one or two. I've been saving them for special occasions because they're that good. I think I was pretty stingy with those this year. I only gave maybe 4 or 5 of those little jelly jars away of that this year. I was stingy with that one. After those flopped green beans, it was nice to have something that was edible. Living and learning. I'm not a master at this either. I'm worried if I cut too deep, I'll cut some of the cob. So I probably cut a little on the shallow side, but I'd rather do that than try to eat cob shavings. I'm noticing there's not a ton of liquid in these. I'm hoping I didn't boil them too long. I made Tim take a bite a minute ago, and they're not quite done. They're just parboiled, but I was like, take a bite. What do you think? He goes, man, that tastes good. So that's all that matters, right? Tim thinks it's good. Sometimes I'm a little picky. Oh my goodness, I don't even think I did anything with the silks on this one. I think it slipped through. just saw one. It is 79 degrees in our kitchen right now. All this boiling water and everything. And I tell you, I cut the fan on. You probably can't hear me anymore, but I'm melting. I hope by the time Tim comes home, I am in the living room, in the air condition, with my feet up. That would be a successful deal. But I doubt it. I still have to put them in all this in the freezer bags for the vacuum sealer. Oh, I was talking to our friends, Jim and Linda, who have grown lots of vegetables over their lifetime. And they asked me if I had taken the leaves off of my jalapenos and pepper plants. And I was like, nah. And I should have evidently done that when I did the tomatoes. So in the next day, I hope in the next day, maybe today, I will run out and do that. I gotta check on my tomatoes. I do not think I went down there at all yesterday, so that would be 2 days since I've been there. And I could be pleasantly surprised with bukus of red tomatoes. And I don't want to miss that. So maybe we'll do that in a little while. Not today, tomorrow. How much of this corn I'm getting everywhere. Probably a bunch. Oh, goodness. The little strings or silks, well, they hang on tight. You have to pull them out of there. And then they break off, and so you have to go back after it with a lighter touch. What a mess. I think I'm going to save those for us to eat fresh for the next day or two. and clean up my mess. That's the plan. Okay, let's see. Perfect. I think I'm gonna have to go outside and shake my towel. Can't blame Tim for this mess, can I? And just a couple kernels, not too bad.